With Thanksgiving around the corner, dedicated wife and mom Virginia Kinch decided that it was time for a domestic cleanup. As she started to sell unwanted items, Virginia realized that her family had instead found an excellent way to help the less fortunate in their community. And having embarked on their journey of kindness, the Kinches soon came to realize the sheer extent of the hardship some people were facing. After witnessing the struggles of a family not unlike their own, the Kinches felt they'd found their calling. The time had come around to perform a Christmas miracle. It was September and Thanksgiving was fast approaching when Virginia decided that the time had come to clean up the basement of her family's home. As she began this grueling task, Virginia noticed how quickly the volume of old unused items started piling up. Clearly, it was time to do some cleaning out. Also, if you have not done so already, please subscribe to our channel and click that notification bell to get inspired by these real-life stories every day. Now, back to the story. Desperate to get rid of the clutter, Virginia decided to sell the Kinches' unused possessions, and what better way to do so than putting them up for sale on Craigslist. While initially expecting to make some handy cash from the sell-off, the mom was shocked by how many of the people who wanted her second-hand items were struggling financially, and that realization tugged hard at her sense of compassion. Many of the prospective buyers who reached out were struggling single mothers. With no means to pay, many of them offered to work in exchange for the items instead. But Virginia came up with an alternative strategy grounded in altruism. Motivated to help those in need, she simply donated the items to them, assuring them that no payment was necessary. And she felt so good about it that Virginia found herself infected by the kindness bug. Motivated to continue her good deeds, Virginia decided to rope in her husband and 3 daughters. Together, the family spent Thanksgiving preparing and handing out food to homeless people in their hometown of Longmont, Colorado. Recalling that there were homeless people living behind a nearby gas station, the Kinch family decided to pay them a visit, and what they discovered when they did proved a real eye-opener. When the Kinches arrived at the gas station, they found a family unit that very much mirrored their own: a dad, a mom, and 3 children. While they knew that this family had been facing tough times, no one in the Kinch family had quite been prepared for just how desperate this family situation truly was. One striking thing about this family was just how young the children were. The parents had 3 daughters aged 5 years, 14 months, and 1 month, respectively. Having to care for such small children is a challenging task, especially when you're struggling to make ends meet. But what made matters even worse were the personal circumstances of this family. Olivia, the mother of the family in need, recalled how when she met the Kinch family, neither she nor her partner Eric had jobs. What's more, the family were in such dire economic straits that they weren't even sure they were able to afford meals going forward. And even this unenviable prospect wasn't the end of the family's woes. Worst of all, Olivia and Eric's family didn't have a permanent home. When the Kinches met them, the struggling family were living in a partially converted bus. While traveling across the country, the bus broke down, leaving the family stranded behind the gas station and short on hope going forward. With the winter fast approaching, this homeless family of 5 were dreading the chilly months that lay ahead. What's more, Olivia revealed, "We didn't think we were gonna have a Christmas at all." Would she and Eric be able to turn things around before the festive season? Upon seeing the state of the family and their difficult life on the bus, Virginia and her family were immediately effective. "We fed them and went home and cried," she emotionally recalled. Soon the Kinches started brainstorming ways to assist the family in need. Virginia could not get the thought of the family's makeshift home out of her mind. "There's no way I'm gonna leave a baby with no crib for a bed on Christmas," she explained. But while providing a family with a home might seem like a daunting task, the Kinches just so happened to be in a position to be of service. It just so happened that the Kinches had 2 homes. The family had been hard at work in recent months renovating their old pad so that it would be ready to rent out or sell. But Virginia realized that this house would be the perfect solution for Olivia and her family. That night, the mom and the rest of her family returned to the bus to make them an unbelievable offer. At first, Olivia and Eric couldn't believe their ears. Had the Kinches seriously offered them a free home to live in with their daughters? "I thought it was like a cruel joke almost, because who does that? Nobody does that," the dumbstruck matriarch revealed. Still, the Kinches were completely serious, so would Olivia accept their offer? To prove that they had meant what they'd said, the Kinches contacted Olivia and her family again the next day to confirm their offer. Still stunned by this generous deed, Olivia accepted. Finally, the struggling family would have a new home. While Virginia and her family had just completed an enormous charitable act, the way they saw it, the job wasn't done yet. After all, what good is an empty house to those who don't actually have any supplies? Fortunately, the Kinches knew exactly how they could help there too. The Kinch daughters understood that they were incredibly privileged to live in such a stable home environment. Realizing that Olivia's family was not as fortunate, They asked their mom to return their Christmas presents and use the money to provide more assistance to the struggling family instead. But the kindness didn't end there. While the Kinches were ready to provide Olivia's family with as much help as possible, they knew that they couldn't furnish an entire home on their own. So they just turned to their neighbors, who seemed just as eager to get involved in this well-intentioned initiative. The Kinches banded together with a group of locals from Neighbors Helping Neighbors in order to complete their mission. Together, the community managed to collect furniture, groceries, and donations for the family, including toys and a playroom for the girls, and even some of the younger community members decided to get involved. One of the youngest people who came to assist was 11-year-old local Zachary Page. In addition to hanging up Christmas stockings, Zachary babysat the 14-month-old as she wandered around her new home. When asked why he decided to get involved, Zachary's response was simple. He told local newspaper The Greeley Tribune, "Anywhere, if people need help, I'll help." Finally, Olivia and her family had a warm home to call their own. "This is the best Christmas we've ever had," she exclaimed. And as well as her family now living in comfort and security, the Kinches' kindness had made another positive impact on her. It's really helped restore my faith in humanity. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and consider sharing it with someone who may find it interesting. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.